Skip a little bit and pick up in the chapter Career Advice. So we left off with Harry having seen the memories of Snape, and Snape saying, "That's it, we're done, no more occlumency." In the next couple pages, Harry goes off and he thinks about what he'd seen. He sees how horrible his father and Sirius treated Snape and such. And he tries to kind of reconcile that. He tries to make sense of it. So, page 670, he figures out the only way I'm going to get over this is talk to Sirius. And page 670, he talks to Sirius and Lupin. 669 says, I want to talk to you about my dad. And so he tells them what he saw. And Lupin says, don't judge your father based on what you saw there, Harry. I mean, he was only 15. Harry's like, hello. Sirius. James and Snape hated each other from the moment they set eyes on each other. What might Sirius be doing there just a little bit? Okay. What else? Keep going down that path. James in Sirius. No, not justifying. Well, maybe a little bit.
Simplifying what happened.
Simplifying. He's deflecting too. Okay. James saw Snape and he says, look, it's not Lupin that was involved. It was Sirius. James did it for what? Because Sirius would enjoy that. Look, Harry, James and Snape hated each other. It was just one of those things. I mean, you can understand that, can't you? Come on, Harry, work with me here. He's almost like he's saying. I think James was everything Snape wanted to be. Well, there's a little bit of, psychologizing going on, a little bit of psychoanalysis. Popular, good at Quidditch, good at pretty much everything. Snape was just this little oddball who was up to his eyes in the dark arts. Notice the character judging / assassination going on there. And James, whatever else he may have appeared to you, Harry, he always hated the dark arts. Yeah, well, who else did? Book 4. And what happened to him? Barty Crouch Sr. Harry, yeah, but he just attacked Snape for no good reason. Well, he did at the point when he finally attacked Snape, because he was doing what? One, self-defense. And he's also kind of defending, standing up for Sirius a little bit. Well, I mean, just because you said you were bored. He did it because you were bored. In other words, this was what? Sport. Fun. A diversion. Sirius, I'm not proud of it. Well, yeah, now he's not. Look, Harry, Lupin says, you got to understand, your father and Sirius were the best in school at everything they did, at whatever they did. Everyone thought they were the height of cool. If they sometimes got a bit carried away, Sirius, if we were sometimes arrogant little Burks, you mean? Okay. Jackasses. Okay. Now he can admit it. Is Sirius at all still arrogant? Yeah, you gotta admit. Cool, yeah, but he still thinks what? He looks down at other people. Okay, Harry talks about, James messing up his hair and stuff. Okay. Talks about his mom. How come she married him? Middle of 671. She hated him. Sirius, nah, she didn't. Lupin started going out with him in 7th year. In other words, 6th year, nothing. Once James had deflated his head a bit. Do we find out why James deflated his head a bit? Nope. And people stopped hexing him just for the fun of it. Or he stopped hexing people just for the fun of it, said Lupin. Harry, even Snape, well, I mean, Snape. Snape's a special case. Yeah, if he could hex Snape, he did. Mom was okay with that? She didn't know too much about it, to tell you the truth. I mean, James didn't take Snape on dates with her and jinx him in front of her, did he? Okay. Harry, you know, I just never thought, page 671, I'd feel sorry for Snape. Feel sorry. Have empathy for Snape. Why is this important? Who are we going to see Harry express empathy for in the next book? Voldemort. They're going to go off in one of their little memory tours, and Harry's going to say, when he finds out Maripe Gaunt died, she couldn't stay alive even for her son? And Dumbledore's going to ask him, Harry, are you starting to feel a little pity for Voldemort? No, of course I'm not. He responds very quickly. Why? Because he is. He got caught. Okay? So, he tells them Snape's not going to give me lessons anymore. And they're like, no, he's got to. He's got to. Okay? I'm not going to talk about career advice. Grop, because I want to finish this today. Grop shows up. We're going to skip Grop. Owls. So they have their owls. Harry does pretty well. Which page is it? 713, old Professor Tofty asks Harry, if he, 714, if he could do a Patronus charm for him. He says, for a bonus point. Harry looks at Umbridge, imagines her getting sacked. Big old stag comes out. Says, excellent. He goes off to History of Magic, sorry. And what's he see? Falls asleep, right? Why does he fall asleep in the History of Magic exam? Okay, doesn't like it. Why else? I mean, is Ben's droning on like he normally does in class? No. Kind of burned out. He's had a bunch of exams. It's hot. It's stuffy. Everything went down at Hagrid's hut. And not just Hagrid. Who else? McGonagall got blasted. Hagrid, fled. They were up late. Okay. So, stuff's happening. So, he tells Ron and Hermione what he saw. Page 733. Finally, somebody has the guts to tell Harry the truth that he needs to hear. Hermione says, I've just got to say this. What? Not a criticism, Harry. You do sort of, don't you think you've got a bit of a saving people thing? What is that, a bit of a saving people thing called?
Hero complex.
Hero complex or a Messiah complex is what it's actually called. It's not an accident. What's that supposed to mean? Well, ... you, ... you, a lot of ... dots, right? She doesn't want to say it. I don't know, you didn't mean to save that little Delacour girl. You got a bit carried away. It was really great and everything, but, wonderful. Yay, Harry, you're a hero, but you don't have to save everybody. She says, no, I'm not talking about that. Well, Voldemort knows you, Harry. Page 734. He took Ginny down into the Chamber of Secrets to lure you there. Notice he took Ginny. He didn't take Ron. He didn't take Hermione. He took... It's the kind of thing he does. He knows you're the sort of person who'd go to Sirius's egg. What's she suggesting? He's using you, Harry. This is a ruse. It's not real. What if your dream was just a dream? You don't get it. I'm not having nightmares. I'm not just dreaming. What do you think all the occlumency? Because this stuff is real, Hermione. Ron, hey man, not me. I didn't. So Hermione says, Harry, you just said it. Dumbledore wanted you to learn to shut these things out of your mind. If you'd have learned it, you wouldn't have seen it. So she can't convince him it's a dream. So what's the next best thing she tries to convince him of? That they attempt.
They try to see if Sirius is actually not at.
Get what? Proof. Get proof that Sirius is at the Ministry of Magic? No, they can't get that kind of proof. Get proof that he's not where he's supposed to be. So, they go into Umbridge's office. And page 740 and 41, they talk to Creature. Well, look, Creature's back. And Harry asks Creature, where's he gone? I'm warning you, really, Harry, your threat is going to harm Creature. Creature, nobody here but Creature. Where's Sirius gone? Master does not tell poor Creature where he's going. But you know, don't you? Master will not come back from the Department of Mysteries. Creature and his mistress are alone again. So, they get caught. And what does Umbridge not only threaten them with? What'd she do? On, okay, unforgivable curse, ticket straight to Azkaban. How does Hermione get them out of this tight spot? The weapon, yeah, is where? In the forest. Do you think Hermione has everything planned out? No, she's building it as she goes. Do you think she has any elements of it kind of in place?
Because she was with Harry and Hagrid and told me, you know.
Okay. True. What else does she know lives in the forest? Grop? What kind of interaction have we seen between Grop and Hermione? Or Hermione? It's not just that he remembers her name. He likes her. Now, Hermione doesn't reciprocate, obviously, but, you know. So, they go off to the forest. The centaurs come in, because they're all angry. And how do the centaurs... I know Grop's important, but how do the centaurs really save the day? What do they do? And why do they do what they do? Who spurs them to action? Is it Hermione and Harry? Do they say, hey, we're friends of Hagrid, come help us, like they tried with Aragog? No. What does Umbridge say? She calls them filthy half-breeds. If you know nothing else about centaurs, what do you know about centaurs? They're proud. They are proud. So, you know, they take her off and they go off into the forest with her. So, right, Grop stops them from that. So, they go back to the castle, and, excuse me, they don't go back to the castle. So, who's all there? Okay. So they go off to the Department of Mysteries. Notice, Harry doesn't want all six of them to go. Why not? Why doesn't he think Neville, Luna, and Ginny should come? Too dangerous. Neville says what? And Gina and Luna. What was the whole purpose of the DA? I mean, this is what we've been training for. Okay. So they go off, and they get into the Department of Mysteries, because Harry now knows how, knows where it is. They get into the round room. They come out of one of the doors. Page 773. They go into a room with a sunken floor. So it's got stone steps going down to the floor. Then the floor is there, and it's round. Okay? And in the middle of the floor, you've got steps going up, and there's an archway. And hanging across the archway is a veil, or curtain, if you want. Okay? And we're told, page 773, the archway is hung with a tattered black curtain or veil, which is fluttering, even though there's no wind in the room. We're told the air is still. Harry, who's there? Jumping down onto the bench below. Hermione, careful. Harry goes down the benches. Okay, he says who's there, and he's where? He's at the top. He's just stepped in the door. So who's there? And he starts going down the benches. Why? He's making a beeline for that veil/curtain. He gets down there, and now this archway looks a lot taller than it did before, but the veil's still moving. Sirius? A little foreshadowing. He had the strangest feeling there was someone standing right behind the veil on the other side of the archway. So he grips his wand, and what does he do? He walks around the dais. Nobody there. So he looks at this side of the veil, walks around the side, looks at the back side of the veil, and he's probably thinking, what the hell is going on? Why do they have an archway with a curtain? And it's Hermione, let's go. From halfway up the stone steps. Notice she's not even halfway down. Harry's gone down the stone steps and around the dais. Harry, come on, let's go. She sounded scared. More scared than in the room where the brains swam. But Harry thinks the archway has a kind of beauty about it. Why? What is it, obviously, first of all? Gateway to death. The veil that separates this world from the next world.
It was a little bit confusing because Hermione didn't see it at all. But
didn't see what?
Didn't see the veil. Or from what I understood, she didn't actually see the veil inside of it, that there was nothing there. And I would understand Luna saw it and she heard the voices. And I understand her, Neville, and Luna, her Harry, Neville, and Luna seeing it, but Ron, because they had witnessed death before, but Ron was also transfixed then.
I'm still wrestling with your Hermione didn't see the veil.
You're talking about the voices or actually someone can hear the voices?
I think the voices and the veil.
Hermione can't hear the voices.
It
doesn't say she can't see the veil. It says when Harry says there are people in there, or Luna says there are people in there, meaning in the veil. Hermione, bottom of 774. What do you mean in there? There isn't any in there. It's just an archway. There's no room for anybody to be there. Now, she doesn't say there's... Okay. Harry again. Yeah. Because of this moving veil. So, Luna's drawn to it. Harry's drawn to it. They've both seen people die. Okay? I think there's a connection between the veil and the mirror, however. The mirror of Erised. Harry sees something in the mirror, and he senses something here. What did he say? You know, the mirror, if the mirror shows you your deepest desire, and Harry sees himself surrounded by his family, then his deepest desire is to be reunited with his family. Well, there's only one way for that to happen. He's got to die. Right? Is he attracted to death? Not in a suicide sense, but in the sense of he's not afraid of it. He's not afraid to die. But Hermione is. Hermione sees it, and she's what? For her, it's almost like you say, there's nothing there. Why? It's like she can't perceive it. It means she can't handle it. Okay? Somebody's whispering by there. Is that you, Ron? Not me. Appearing around the side of the archway. So Ron's got all the way down. Hermione finally says, Harry, we're looking for Sirius. You don't see Sirius, right? Because if he does, all bets are off. So that's how she gets him to leave. He goes, Sirius, still gazing, mesmerized. It's almost like the veil is doing what? Come, you know. We're going to hear in the Lord of the Rings. Let's go, he says. I'm writing. That's what I've been trying to. So they've been in the brain room. Okay, this is, what part of the Ministry of Magic is this? Department of Mysteries. Why is the brain room in the Department of Mysteries? Are brains themselves mysterious? Well, you don't see them, so I guess kind of. It's not the brain itself. It's what the brain represents. Mind. Okay? That's what's mysterious. What's the connection between the gray matter and consciousness? Nobody knows. Cognitive scientists, they don't understand completely how the gray matter creates ideas, or itself, you know, so to speak. Okay? So now we've had brain/mind. We've had death. What other rooms do they go into? Time. Time's a mystery, right? Is this really time? No, it's not.
That's what we declare as time.
Okay? That is a what? What it used to be called, chronometer. A measurer of time. Before we had these, how did we measure time?
Sun.
But we didn't measure just the sun and stuff. Monthly, you know, the moon. Okay. But 3000 BC, they weren't reckoning years. It was seasonal kind of a thing. Right? What other room? There's the space room, right? They go into. Okay. And the Hall of Prophecy. So let's jump up to there. So they get to the Hall of Prophecy, and Harry sees. There's the prophecy. SPT to APWBD, Dark Lord and question mark, Harry Potter. SPT, Sybil P. Trelawney to Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore. Dark Lord too. Notice they don't even use his name. Question mark. When does the Harry Potter get put on the prophecy? After Voldemort goes to attack him. Before then, it was just, okay. And so we hear Malfoy. You knew Malfoy was going to show up, so Malfoy's there. And we get chapter 781. Beyond the Veil. Well, we see the Six fight the Death Eaters. They do a pretty darn good job. I'm going to skip a bunch. And we find out, let's see here. Harry throws the prophecy to Neville. Now, what should happen? Page 804. Harry flung the prophecy across the floor, and Neville spun himself around on his back, scooped the ball to his chest. Who can handle the prophecy? Only the people it's about.
No, they're the only retrievers.
Oh, retrieve it, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got to go and recheck that.
It is.
So Neville gets it. What does he do? He's Neville. He drops it. Okay.
And then he ends up keeping it.
Okay, yeah. So it breaks, and page 805. Dumbledore shows up. You know, Dumbledore shows up and does some seriously bad, you know, magic. I mean, does the lasso thing. And the last thing we see, page 805, Harry's thinking, we're saved. Only one couple were still battling, apparently unaware of the new arrival. Harry saw Sirius duck Bellatrix's jet of red light. Notice it's red, it's not green. She's not trying to kill him. He was laughing at her. Come on, you can do better than that. Arrogant to the last. This is don't get cocky, kid, you know. He's cocky. And what? The second jet of light hit him squarely on the chest. Are we told what the color is of the second jet of light? Nope. Is it green? The laughter had not quite died from his face, but his eyes widened in shock, not in death. He's alive as he does the swan dive. Okay? And we're told Harry released Neville. It seemed to take Sirius an age to fall. His body curved in a graceful arc as he sank backward through the ragged veil hanging from the arch. Did Sirius know what the room was that they were in? Did any of the others know what the room was? Do you think? We don't know. He might have just thought, standing up on an arch, basic military strategy, get the higher ground. Even though he's not hand-to-hand fighting per se. But he falls through and does not reappear. It's like Harry is standing at a vantage point where the arch is like this to him. So he can see this side, he sees this side, he sees Sirius on this side, he sees him get hit, and he sees Sirius fall through, and it's like he goes through the curtain thing and just, Sirius. Too late, Harry. He says, we can still reach him. No, Harry. Lupin says, he's gone. Okay? He hasn't gone. And Harry sees that Sirius isn't there. Okay? So, he goes off after Bellatrix. Page 810. And he does what? Yes?
Haven't we seen the other people who've been hit by the bottom downward first, like their eyes bottom and shot? That's how I interpreted it. That's why I was that. Like when Cedric.
Yeah, I mean, their eyes are wide. But the other instances, I think it's pretty clear they're dead. Here it's not clear. I mean, yeah, we're told Harry saw the look of mingled fear and surprise on his godfather's wasted, once handsome face as he fell through the ancient doorway. Okay. Why fear and surprise? Is the surprise, because he's been Avada Kedavra? Harry never sees what? Flash of green light. A flash of green light is never described here. So is it kind of like, as he fell through the ancient doorway, disappeared behind the veil, which fluttered for a moment as though in a high wind, and then fell back into place. Now, you would think if he's falling through, he's falling head first. So are his hands extended, and his hands go through, and that's where he gets this wide look of surprise, like, oh, that's not so bad. I think there's an element there where we are supposed to wonder why surprise. Or is it just, damn, Bellatrix. Bellatrix is the one who got me. I don't think that's it. Okay? I could be entirely wrong. So, page 810. Bellatrix taunts Harry, and he does the Crucio curse on her. She screams. Spell knocks her off her feet. But she doesn't writhe with pain. And she says, never used unforgivable curse before, have you, boy? You need to mean them, Potter. You need to really want to cause pain to enjoy it. Righteous anger won't hurt me for long. Okay? Righteous anger. She's saying, what Harry feels right now, this is righteous. That is, this is appropriate. It is good and natural and moral. Okay? Now, later on, we are going to see Harry use a Cruciatus curse in Book 7. And apparently, then it won't be righteous. Because he kind of goes, oh, I see what you meant. He intends to inflict pain and to take joy from it in that instance. Okay? So, she keeps taunting him, and then finally we hear Voldemort's voice, we hear Dumbledore's voice, and I don't even remember the film. I'm sure I've seen all of it, but if I've seen this part, I have no memories of it. But I do remember the trailers, and it looked like this scene lasted for, many minutes.
Dumbledore came out of one of the fireplaces, and Voldemort was already there, and Harry was standing over Bellatrix, and he was like, "You know the spell, come on, do it," wanting him to kill Bellatrix.
Okay.
Very dramatic. There's like broken glass.
Yeah. That's what I remember from the trailers. All the prophecies being shattered, nonsense. So Dumbledore and Voldemort start to talk like they're sitting around a table having tea, and Dumbledore says, bottom 813, "It was foolish to come here tonight, Tom. Or by which time I'll be gone and you'll be dead." So Dumbledore flicks his wand. Notice no dramatic arm movement, just a little, like a bug. The force of the spell that emanated from it was such that Harry, though shielded by a stone guard, felt his hair stand on end. Voldemort, you don't want to kill me, Dumbledore? Above such brutality? We both know there are other ways of destroying a man, Tom. In other words, no, I'm not above such brutality. There are worse things than death. What's one of them we know?
The existence that Voldemort had when he was destroyed.
Okay.
Dementor's kiss.
Dementor's kiss would be pretty bad. Because you go on living, but you're not there. Nothing worse than death. You're quite wrong. Okay? And we see, fighting going on. So, Voldemort possesses Harry. And we hear page 816. The creature, using Harry's mouth, says, "Kill me now, Dumbledore." Blinded and dying, every part of him screamed for release. Harry felt the creature use him again. "If death is nothing, Dumbledore, kill the boy." Did Dumbledore say death is nothing? He never has. He said death is the next great adventure if one has a well-organized mind. Harry, let the pain stop. Let him kill us. End it, Dumbledore. Death is nothing compared to this. And I'll see Sirius again. Why does he say, "I'll see Sirius again"? Does Harry believe in the quote-unquote afterlife? At this point, from everything we've been given to know about Harry from books 1 through this one, no, he doesn't. He has no understanding of what happens when you die. He has no idea. It's like it's a complete blank slate with Harry. Okay? And yet he says, "I'll see Sirius again." Why? Because Sirius is just hanging out for a while just beyond the veil? Like, come on, Harry, if you hurry up, you can catch me, And as Harry's heart filled with emotion, the creature's coils loosen. So, Dumbledore sends Harry off to his office and kind of takes control. Notice, by the way. Harry has to sit there, wait in the office alone for a while.
About 30 minutes.
Why? Yeah, it's about 30 minutes or so. He tells Phineas Nigellus, your great-great-grandson, dead. Family line, dead. There will be no more blacks. Okay? Harry has all this time what? To think. So, Dumbledore comes in, sits down, talks to a few portraits, page 823. He tells Harry, "No shame in what you're feeling, Harry. On the contrary, in fact, you can feel pain like this. That's your greatest strength." Harry, shut up, old man. That's what my greatest strength is? It? You haven't got a clue. Really? Don't tell me. What do I not have a clue about, Harry? I don't want to talk about it. All right? Harry, suffering like this, top of 824, proves you're still a man. This pain is part of being human. Notice the reply. Then I don't want to be human. It's a pretty natural reply, right? I don't want to be human. He just saw his godfather half an hour ago, 45 minutes maybe, murdered in front of his eyes. The closest thing he had to a father that he remembers, snuffed out. I don't care. I've had enough. I've seen enough. I want out. I want out of what? This. Life. I want it to end. I don't care anymore. Dumbledore. Yeah, you do. After Harry sees the table on which the silver instrument had stood and threw that. You do care. You feel as though you will bleed to death. I don't. Yes, you do. I don't. Yes, you do. Yeah, man. You lost your father. You lost your mother. You lost the closest thing to a parent you've ever. Of course you care. How do you? Dumbledore. Go ahead. Keep breaking everything. By all means, continue destroying my possessions. Page 825. I dare say I have too many. Why does he say that? Are these possessions all Dumbledore's, or do some of them go with the office? We don't know. But when he says, I dare say I have too many, what that implies, I don't need any of this stuff. It's all what? Stuff. Okay? Go ahead. Let me out. No. Not until I have my say. I don't care what you do. You will. Because once I say what I need to say, then you'll have reason, Harry, to kill me. And if you're going to kill me, I want it to be justified, It's my fault Sirius died. Harry's like, what? What do you mean? Well, almost entirely my fault. I won't be so arrogant as to say it's all my fault. Sirius was a brave, clever, energetic man. Such men are not usually content to sit at home in hiding while they believe others to be in danger. You should never believe for an instant there is any necessity for you to go to the mystery department mysteries. If I had been open with you, you never would have gone. That's what he says. You never would have been tricked into going there. And Sirius would not have had to come after you. In other words, he doesn't come out and say it, but Harry, 2 + 2 = 4. You drew Sirius to you. You, Harry, bear some of the responsibility. He doesn't state it, but it's implied. So he asks Harry to sit down. He says, I owe you an explanation of an old man's mistakes. So he says, I guess 15 years ago when I saw the scar on your forehead, what it might mean, I guess it might be the sign of a connection between you and Voldemort. Get to the point. Okay, well, got to start with your scar. I mean, it's where it all... So he says, I became concerned that you and Voldemort had a deeper connection, etc., and that's why I kind of divorced myself from you. Okay? I arranged occlumency lessons. I thought you and Snape would kind of be able to get past your... Okay? Dumbledore tells Harry, Creature lied. Page 829. When Sirius told him to get out, he did. Okay? Dumbledore goes on, he says, Creature told me what he told you. He didn't wish to tell me. I'm sufficiently accomplished in elements. I know when I'm being lied to, and I persuaded him. How do you think Dumbledore persuaded Creature? Just the threat? No, he says I'm sufficiently accomplished, Legilimens. I know when I'm being lied to, so I persuaded him. Did he just use beautiful rhetoric? Come on, Creature, tell me the truth. Or did he somehow force it out of him? See, because we have a parallel scene in The Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is talking to Frodo about Gollum, and he says, I had to use the threat of fire. Now, some people read that to just mean a threat, like, Gollum, tell me what I want, or I'm going to burn you. Or he actually brought the hot tongs to him. Like, tell me, or I touched this to you. Anyways, he goes on and talks about Hermione and how Hermione was right about how they should treat Creature. And he says, Creature is what he has been made by wizards, Harry. He is to be pitied. Like Dobby. And Harry's got in his mind, foul, mud blood, traitor, you know. Don't talk about Sirius like that. Bottom 833. Sirius didn't hate Creature. He regarded him as a servant unworthy of much interest or notice. In other words, lower. Like Fudge did to Winky. Indifference and neglect often do much more damage than outright dislike. Why does Rowling have Dumbledore say that? Harry should identify with Creature. Creature was to Sirius like Harry was to the Dursleys. Indifference and neglect. That's how he was treated by the Dursleys. More so than outright dislike. Right? The fountain we destroyed tonight told a lie. We wizards have mistreated and abused our fellows for too long. And now, reaping our reward. Well, what happened to the fountain? The lie was shattered. What's going to be replaced in Book 7? There's not going to be the fountain.
The wizard and witch statue.
You're going to get the wizard and witch sitting on a throne of naked, writhing muggles with the words, magic is might, beneath. In other words, might makes right. That's what magic is might means. If you've got the power, you have the authority. Right? So, Tom, I told you what you first asked of me 5 years ago. Here's what. I don't remember what I asked you. He says, well, here's why I didn't tell you then. My priority was to keep you alive. You were in more danger than perhaps anyone, this is page 835, than anyone but I realized. Yeah, Voldemort had been vanquished, but he wasn't gone. Okay? I knew Voldemort's weakness. Is this a physical weakness? Is this a magical weakness on Voldemort's part? No. It's an ideological weakness. So he says, you'd be protected by an ancient magic. While you still call home the place where your mother's blood dwells, you cannot be touched or harmed by Voldemort. So, while you can still call home wherever it is that Petunia Dursley lives, until you reach adult age, Voldemort cannot harm you. There. Okay? You gotta go back once a year. Harry, wait, stop. You sent the howler. Uh-huh. Okay. So he says, I'm going to tell you. Now, you don't see the flaw, right? Page 837. There's a flaw in this great plan of mine. Obvious. I knew even then. It might be the undoing. I told myself I could keep from doing this flaw. Harry, I don't get what you're saying. You don't remember asking me why Voldemort tried to kill you as a baby? Harry nods. Why doesn't he say yes? Tell me. Because we're in an area of mystery here. We're in an area of where it's like words fail, and Harry's just, So now you're gonna give me the whole truth? Should I have told you? Harry doesn't say anything. You don't see the okay. Well, then let's go on to your second year. Harry, you see the danger yet? You see the flaw in my brilliant plan? Page 838. I'd fallen into the trap I'd foreseen. I cared about you too much. That's it, Harry. He says, I cared more for your happiness than your knowing the truth. More for your peace of mind than my plan. Hold on a second. More for your life than the lives that might be lost if the plan had failed.
Just before this, too, he was saying his forgetting what it was like to be young. His age was a flaw as well.
Yeah, I mean, he says, you can't hold that against me, Harry. I forget what it's like. I don't remember what it's like to be young, especially, Harry's age young. What was the flaw? I acted exactly as Voldemort expects we fools who love to act. Well, what is that? For Harry, and we fools who love to act will do what? For those we love. We will try to protect them at all costs. Notice, I cared more for your life than the lives that might be lost if the plan failed. Well, whose lives were lost already, even though the plan hasn't failed yet? Sirius, Cedric,
The groundskeeper. But
Frank Bryce, possibly. Okay. He's saying, Harry, I've got this plan. And I kind of threw the plan out the window because I saw you. I saw how you've been mistreated, and I just wanted to protect you. And yet, even at the end of the first book, what does he say? When Harry says, you know, we found about Nicholas, you did do the thing rightly. In other words, I kind of put the pieces in play and said, go for it. What did I care? Page 839 at the top. If numbers of nameless and faceless people and creatures were slaughtered in the vague future, if, in here and now, you were alive and well and happy. Okay, what's he talking about if in the future? If the plan doesn't work. What does he mean? Numbers of faceless and nameless people and creatures. If Voldemort wins, what is going to be the numbers of nameless and faceless people and creatures? A lot. And he says, I kind of sacrificed that for what? Your being happy. Your being happy how? Not knowing the plan. Does he tell Harry the plan? No, he doesn't. Why? Still wants him to be happy? Yeah, to some extent. What would it do to you if you knew, quote unquote, the future and when you would die? Okay, you might try everything to prevent it. But what if your belief system was you couldn't prevent it? What if you accepted, okay, that is exactly how I'm going to die. It's going to be at such and such a minute, such and such an hour, such and such a day, whatever. Okay? What else might you do? Okay, possibly stop caring. Okay. You would think you would live life differently than you might have lived before you heard that. And in doing so, what? Quote, unquote, using that for strong purposes, change the future as if the future is already inscribed, written down. Like the tapestry, okay? But Dumbledore says, you know, we entered your third year. I saw you from afar as you struggled to repel Dementors. In other words, Harry, I was watching you all the time. Fourth year, you came out of the maze. And now I know I should have told you. I should have told you why Voldemort wanted to kill you. What's he getting at? The prophecy. I should have told you about the prophecy. Not the whole plan. Voldemort tried to kill you when you were a child, page 839, because of a prophecy made shortly before your birth. He knew the prophecy had been made, though he did not know its full contents. He set out to kill you when you were still a baby, believing he was fulfilling the terms of the prophecy. He discovered, to his cost, he was mistaken. When the curse intended to kill you backfired. Okay? So ever since then, he's been trying to find out what? The rest of the story. Okay? Sun had fully risen now, shining golden light through the windows. Harry, who heard it? Who heard the prophecy? I did. Cold, wet night, 16 years ago. in a room above the bar at the Hogshead. I'd gone there for an application for the post of divination teacher. Okay? Applicant was the great-great-granddaughter of a very famous, very gifted seer. But I don't think she's quite up to it. Until she gives the prophecy. And Dumbledore pulls out the pensive, and there it is. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches, born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the seventh month dies, and the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not. And either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The power of the Dark. Okay? Harry. What's that mean? It's like, can he not understand words? It meant the person who has the only chance of conquering Lord Voldemort for good was born at the end of July. That boy would be born to parents who had already defied Voldemort 3 times. Me? You know what, Harry? It might not have been you. It might have been Neville. So what's that tell us about Frank and Alice Longbottom? They thrice defied the Dark Lord. Neville is born at the end of July, same year Harry is born. Right? So why is my name on it, not Neville's? Well, it was relabeled after Voldemort's attack on you. It seemed plain to the Keeper of the Hall of Prophecy Voldemort could only have tried to kill you because he knew you to be the one to whom Sybil was referring. Notice, the Keeper of the Hall of Prophecy said or thought to himself, the prophecy had to be about you, Harry. That's not what it means, though, as Dumbledore tries to get Harry to see. Oh, so it might not be about. No, it is. But you just said Neville. What's the all-important part Harry forgets? And he forgets it all through the rest of this book and all throughout most of the book 6 and part of 7. Who?
Voldemort.
It's about Harry because Voldemort chose Harry. He could have had, two names, blindfolded, dart, 2 names on the wall. Either one, it could have been Neville if Voldemort had chosen Neville. In which case it would be Neville Longbottom and the Order of the Phoenix. Be a mouthful, but, we'll work with it, right? He might have chosen wrong. He might have marked the wrong person. What does Harry mean by wrong? Wrong, chosen wrong, wrong person. No, I don't think it's that.
He doesn't want it to be.
Okay, he doesn't want it to be him, definitely. What else? How's a prophecy normally supposed to work? What is the prophecy doing? I mean, you have the prophet, right? Here, Sybil Trelawney. And the prophet says things, right? And the things the prophet says, in order for it to be a real prophet, which is why Sybil Trelawney is not, is everything that prophet says has to either happen or be true. Because a prophet is both a forth-teller and a foreteller. Forth, speaking the truth. For, telling it before it happens. Okay? Speaking for whom or what? Something back here behind the prophet. Okay? God. Or, the gods in the Greek and Roman system. So they know what? The future. That's not this kind of prophecy. We are never told who or what the prophets who give the prophecies are conduits for. We're never told what makes Sybil Trelawney go all weird. Other than that, she, twice now, has delivered these prophecies. Okay? Harry thinks that prophecy is something yanked out of the supernatural ether that looks to the future. In other words, maybe Voldemort screwed up. Maybe it is supposed to be Neville. Dumbledore. Nope. He chose you, Harry. Why? He thought you were the greatest danger. Notice, Neville's pureblood. Voldemort doesn't choose the pureblood. He chooses the half-blood. You've probably all heard about, Hitler. Hitler was like, I don't know, remember what it was, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16 Jew. Okay? He's very Voldemortish. So, they go on. Dumbledore explains, he chose you, etc. He goes, but you're forgetting the rest. He will not only choose you, he will mark you and do what? Go back to the prophecy. Will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not. So Dumbledore says he didn't hear that other part. He didn't hear the part about marking as his equal and will have power the Dark Lord knows not. Harry, but I don't. I don't have power he doesn't have. I couldn't fight the way he did tonight. I can't possess people or kill them. Harry, there's a room in the Department of Mysteries that's kept locked at all times. Then why is it there? What's the room? Love. He says, Harry, you have the power within that room that you possess in such quantities in which Voldemort has not at all. That power took you to save Sirius tonight. That power saved you from possession by Voldemort. Harry closes his eyes. It was your heart that saved you. Harry closes his eyes. The other part, neither can live. So one of us has got to kill the other one in the end. Oh, and by the way, Harry, I didn't make you prefect because I thought you already had a little bit much on your plate. Like, really? Now you're telling me this? So, Harry's now got the full prophecy. He's been marked, and he has power Voldemort doesn't have. It was his heart that saved him. So how's he going to defeat Voldemort? Does he just need a big hug? Is that what Voldemort, does he just need love? Okay. Why does Rowling write that Voldemort has no love at all? I don't know if I should go into this. Abandoned and all that kind of stuff. Okay. We'll come back to that. So, Second War begins. And they have the end of the year feast. But Harry doesn't go to it. He finds nearly headless Nick. After he's packing up, he finds the mirror that Sirius gave him at Christmas to use as a way of communicating with Sirius. If he remembered that, nothing would have happened. So he finds nearly headless Nick and says, can I ask you something? And Nick's like, really? Now, I've been expecting it. Expecting what? Page 860, you to come find me. Happens sometimes when somebody says, yeah, well, you're dead, but you're still here. Uh-huh. So, you died, but I'm talking to you. You can walk. Uh-huh. So you came back. People come back as ghosts, right? They don't have to disappear completely? Well, not everyone can come back. Well, what do you mean? Well, only wizard. No, it's okay, because he's a wizard. The one I'm talking about. He won't come back. Who? Sirius Black. But you did. You came back. You're dead, and you didn't just... Why does Nick say Sirius won't come back? Why does Nick say Sirius will have moved on? He will have gone on, he said. What do you mean, gone on? Gone on where? What happens when you die anyway? Harry's thinking, here it is. I can get the holy grail of all questions. What happens when you die? Where do you go? Why doesn't everyone come back? Why isn't this place full of... Notice all the whys. Why? I can't. What do you mean you can't answer? You're dead. I was afraid of death. I chose to remain behind. Sometimes wonder whether I oughtn't to have. Well, that's neither here nor there. In fact, kind of like me. I'm neither here, really alive, nor am I there, wherever there is. I chose my feeble imitation of life. I believe learned wizards study the matter in the Department of Mysteries. What matter?
Like,
Death. What is death? Sorry, Harry. Got to go down to the feast. Really? I mean, Nick has all the time in the world, right? And how much pleasure does he get from the feast? Does he taste anything that he eats? No. Harry felt almost as though he had lost his godfather all over again and losing the hope that he might be able to see or speak to him once more. It's like he sees him go through that veil again. Okay, so he's lost the hope that he might see him again, and he sees Luna. And he says, how come you're not at the feast? Well, I've lost most of my possessions. Notice her verb choice. I've lost. Really? How did she lose them? People take them and hide them, you know. Well, then that's not losing them. That's people taking them and hiding them. That's called stealing. Okay? Harry, how come people do this? Notice, an odd feeling arose in Harry, an emotion quite different from the anger and grief that had filled him since Sirius's death. What's the feeling? He's feeling sorry for Luna. Why? Because people are mean to her. For what reason? Because she's different. Okay? Some people even call me Loony Lovegood, and Harry's like, ow. Well, that's no. Do you want help finding them? No, they'll come back. They always do in the end. What? Her things magically just kind of get up and float in the air on their own back to her room, into her trunk?
She uses a summoning charm, but yes.
But that's not what she implies. She just says, no, they'll come back. They always do in the end. It's just I wanted to pack tonight. She's kind of like, it's okay. I'll just pack tomorrow. All's good. Weren't you at the feast? I didn't feel like it. She goes, no, I suppose you wouldn't. The man the Death Eaters killed was your godfather, wasn't it? Ginny told me. He says, yeah. Have you ever known someone who's died? Harry asks her. Yes, my mother. Quite extraordinary witch, I was 9. Experiment went bad. Harry, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was horrible. I still feel that sad about it sometimes, but I've still got Dad. Anyways, it's not as though I'll never see Mom again. Is it? Notice the question. Is it? She's asking, seeking for Harry to say what? Yes, you will. Okay. Is that because Luna is unsure? Is she saying, please, Harry, please tell me I'll see my mother again? No. It's rhetorical. Isn't it? Harry says, uncertainly. That is, he has no idea. And she shakes her head, how? In disbelief. What is her disbelief in? Is it that she won't see her mother again? Nope. Her disbelief is at Harry's disbelief. She can't believe that Harry can't believe that he'll see Sirius again. Come on. You heard them just behind the veil? You mean, yeah, in the room with the archway. They were just lurking out of sight, that's all. You heard them. They look at each other. Luna's smiling slightly. Harry's kind of like, Luna believes so many extraordinary things. Yeah, he'd been sure he heard voices behind the veil, too. You sure you don't want me to help you look for your stuff? Oh, no, I think I'll just go down, have some pudding, wait for it all to turn up. It's all going to turn up. on its own. It always does in the end. Have a nice holiday, Harry. She walks away, and Harry found that the terrible weight in his stomach seemed to have lessened slightly. Why? What has Luna just given Harry? Hope? What else? Does she merely hope that all of her stuff will return? She believes it. She has faith that it will. She has given Harry an element of faith. Okay? That faith is going to be destroyed in Book 7. I mean, utterly destroyed. Where Harry will hit rock bottom. Where all he can see above him is blackness, darkness. And then that faith will be renewed. Okay? We're going to see this happen. So why does Rowling put this here? What was this little scene with Luna all about? Faith in what? Something she knows? Does she know? Does she have 100% certitude she'll see her mother again? Nope, she doesn't. But she heard the voices. Did she believe she would see her mother before she heard the voices? I think she does. Why? Partly because of the little bit that Nick told us. What did Nick say about death? Well, one, I don't know anything about it. Two, you die and you're given a choice. You can go on or you can choose this pale imitation. Why doesn't he go on? He's afraid. He doesn't know what lies beyond the final door of death. So he chooses the pale imitation of life. Notice what he said about Sirius. I'll go on. Why?
Because he realized he made the wrong choice.
Who?
Nick.
Nick made the wrong choice. Sirius? Go back to the first book. He has a well-organized mind. How do you know? Did Sirius know what the danger was when he went to the Ministry of Magic?
Yes.
Yes, he did. What was he thinking of?
Harry.
He was thinking of Harry, not himself. He was putting Harry's needs, wants, desires, life above his own. That's part of what it means to have a well-organized mind. And Harry was doing the same for Sirius. And, I would argue, Harry's been doing the same since book 1. He puts his arm out and stops Draco. In that sense, by putting his arm in front of Draco, what is he doing? He's putting himself in front of Draco. He is becoming a Patronus. He is shielding Draco. Just as we heard Lucius Malfoy call him Patronus Potter in this book. Okay? So we're going to start, that's going to pick up because the next book's, there's more about this whole Savior bit. Now, there's a comment I said we would come back to, and I don't remember what it was.
Voldemort has no love.
Yes. Why does Voldemort have no love? Anybody know?
Because he's afraid of death.
He was conceived
Rowling said in an interview, Voldemort was incapable of love because he was conceived under the spell of a love potion. Okay, take the love potion part out, put it kind of in our world. What did Marape do to Tom Riddle, Sr.?
Basically roofied him.
She basically raped him. She got herself knocked up by him, and then he left her. That's what happened. Okay? Rowling is... Now, I am sure she would not state this, but the implication, the logical conclusion based upon her words of what happens to Voldemort is what? And it's horrible and it's despicable. It's anybody not conceived out of love is incapable of love. That means if I'm the product of a one-night stand, which isn't love, maybe it's the Playboy definition of love, but it ain't my definition of love, then I'm incapable of love. That is an abhorrent idea. I mean, it really is abhorrent. Because if that's true, then that means all people who are born like that, or the result of rape, or the result of incest, are what? Psychopathic sociopaths? If you're incapable of love, that is one of the definitions of a sociopath. You cannot feel. Wow. I don't think it's based upon these, not Rowling's subsequent interviews, Pottermore, etc. That's not what comes across in these. How do I know? Next book, we're going to see Dumbledore have an interview with Voldemort. Okay? Where Voldemort's going to come back and want to teach at the school. And they talk. And they talk about whose form of magic is more powerful. Dumbledore's, which is love, or Voldemort's, which is spells, potions, silly wand, waving kind of stuff. Okay? And then we're going to see something in book 7, where Voldemort's going to use a word that could be construed as the very lowest, least level indication of love. He's going to use the word regret. Okay. We'll stop there. Have a good break. Read Half-Blood Prince if you haven't read it before.